Hello, everyone, and welcome to Hornby Live Q&A with myself, Mike, and Martyn.
Good evening, all. Hope you're all doing well.
So it's a little bit different here. So since our last live, we've changed our studios, and we're in a bit of a slight renovation here. As some of you may have seen behind me in videos, we've got a layout that we're currently building, that I'm currently building. So that's where we're sat at the moment. And because it's me and Martyn, we thought we'd get a little bit close to you. So that's why it looks a little bit different this time around. But thank you everyone for joining us. We've got you in the chat. As always, if you can or can't hear us, let us know in the chat in front of me and Martyn. We're going to answer some questions that you've already got in on our social media, and then we're going to answer some of yours live today as well. And we've got some TT samples for any of the TT fans out there. So yeah, we'll start off with wanted to talk a little bit about the greatest gathering, because that was this weekend, and some of you at home may have been able to attend, and I was lucky enough to be there. You unfortunately weren't.
Yeah, I mean, tell me about it. I mean, I was gutted. Family holiday, it's commitments and all that, and and so I couldn't go, and I was really gutted. And I was actually in the UK, and I looked at all these different kind of like train routes of how I might be able to get there and back in a day, and it just didn't work. I'd have been there for an hour and a half and come back, and I knew it was painful because on the run up to it, I was just hearing more and more stuff about what would be there. I knew it would be good anyway. I knew the people involved, like from a Tox right the way down to Key Publishing, who were doing. I knew it would be good. And just no, I couldn't go. Anyway, so the event passes, and you think, oh right, well the FOMO is over. That's it. But then you go on social media, and there's just more and more and more stuff about it. And you think, oh, please don't be once in a lifetime. It's the next anniversary. You guys got to do this again.
Yeah.
So, next time, hopefully. I am gutted.
Yeah, it was a huge event. I mean, it got so much publicity across everything. Jeremy Vine was doing an interview on a miniature railway there.
Yep.
Obviously, Francis Bourgeois was there. Michael Portillo getting
named,
naming for him. So, I mean, for me, it was, I had a bit of the luckiest job, I guess, because I was going around and filming and photographing everything. So I got to just walk around and enjoy all the stuff. But seeing the Flying Scotsman come in on the Saturday, I think it went out on Friday for a private event and then came back in. That was really, really impressive. And just as always, it's nice to see people and meet people.
Yeah, I mean, it would have been a very different show to go to, and if I had been able to go, I think I would have maybe sort of like not told the others that I was going, so I didn't have to work the stand. Because I love going to model railway shows. You normally got 3 days, 2-3 days to look around if you include setup and talk to competitors and some of the guys exhibiting there. So you get to see a lot of model railway stuff, but the opportunity to see kind of that many kind of trains, essentially, or predominantly locomotives, in that kind of working environment where they've just kind of pulled in with a matter of days ago. They're not like a museum exhibit where you have to stand X meters when they've been sat there not working for ages.
I still can't get my head around the logistics of how they've got everything in and out. Is just, even to think about where they're coming in on that site and who's coming for all that sort of stuff, just completely blew my mind.
Yeah, I mean, I suppose they're good at it. I mean, I suppose that element of it is the closer bit to the everyday, rather than having 30,000, whatever it was, general public coming through essentially a kind of a factory, which I'm sure was a logistical, health and safety nightmare for the organisation. I really appreciate kind of what they've done. Especially the 200-year anniversary of passenger railway is always going to be a big year, and I think there'll still be a lot to come, but that will probably be the pinnacle. I think that will be the one that people remembered. It's like it's probably like the musical equivalent of getting or not getting Oasis tickets. Did you get tickets to the cricket?
No,
yeah. But luckily with this, there is some video content around.
Yeah, I think it was, I'd say, my favourite thing that I saw there was the Baby Deltic. Just that project is really impressive anyway, but there's something about it, and I don't know if it was because a lot of the liveries are bright, and if not, and it's just got its grey undercoat, that it kind of stood out because it wasn't finished. Basically. And I think that for me was quite interesting. I think it just happened to be not around as much. It had a bit of space around it and things like that. So I think it was a really nice space for it. And then the Class 99 was interesting to see.
I'm quiet apparently, which is
You're quiet.
Very out of character. I must admit, probably a good thing, but. Is that any better? I don't know. I've broken any wires.
Have you muted it or something like that?
I don't think I've done that.
Might be all right. Just try talking a little bit louder.
Try to talk a bit louder.
Here we go. Let's try that. The joys of.
And one thing I was going to ask about the event, and I hope the answer is no. Did they have any diesels actually running, like engines running?
No, so they didn't have diesels. They had obviously steamers going, and they had another loco going up and down.
That would have made me feel a
but
lot
yeah,
better. Because if someone
diesels.
said there was a 37 there, like
Yeah.
fraction of cold start.
Yeah, so they were starting up and everything like that, and they were doing whistles and things, but they weren't actually moving anything until obviously at the end when they started moving. I think 37 actually went into Derby.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Apparently, I'm still not on.
You're still not on.
Yeah, that's best. Oh, slightly better.
Okay.
So Richard just said we're slightly better now. We're getting thumbs up. We're there. Don't touch the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. I read a comment where it said it was no better, but getting better.
Yeah. So great event, and for us, I think it was great to see so many different types of people. When we obviously go to model shows, we obviously see all the people at home that are probably watching now, but just to see general railway enthusiasts and get to talk to them about our stuff and get to talk to them about the event and things like that, I think was a really nice thing for us and the team.
I mean, to be able to talk to like the kind of the model railway fans, the people that may be here today or may look back at a later time or whatnot, is always great. You know, that's great. We love doing that, and we luckily we get the opportunity to do that several times a year at several locations. But one of the great things about that event, and which is very kind of on key for Hornby, is there's a lot of new potential there. Now, there are a lot of people that have come along because there's an interest in trains. Maybe it's local, but I think majority, given the scarcity of the tickets, would have an interest. And there are lots of people there, especially on the family side of things, who were who necessarily didn't have train sets at home. That's some of the feedback that the guy said about anyway, and that's just an opportunity for those people to see the model side of it and get into the thing that we all love, and the reason why we're sat here now.
Yeah.
That's what we're all about, you know. I've said this before, and I'll keep saying it, so I apologise for that. But you know, so many people's model railway journey has begun with Hornby, and you know, when you see that next younger generation coming through, we've got to get them through, and it's great to see so many kids there. And the play trains area went down particularly well. Very busy, and we always know when it's worked well because there's a lot of parents dragging away screaming kids. Now, for the parents, that's obviously a horrible thing, and as a parent, you kind of look at it and think, "Oh, good, that's not me." But from a brand perspective and a hobby perspective and the whole industry, that's a good thing because that kid maybe, you know, watching these videos with a younger version of us maybe in 20, 30 years, who knows? I hope so.
And then we were lucky enough to be able to show our engineering sample of Deltic as well. That was on our stand and our layout. So we shared, I think, a video of it on social. For anyone that did see that, it is an engineering sample. So obviously it's got more development to come, but it was giving us a chance to kind of show off where we're at with that project.
And the sheer strength of it, because one of the reasons why the Deltic has been delayed was that we built, you know, this amazing 00. It's obviously very heavy. So the amount of die cast in it was absolutely great. And we put it on the tracks at an early stage, and it went around. And like, oh, this is great. Should we check it with a load? I mean, like, actually, the motor's not up for it. So we then had to go back and actually create a whole new motor, and then you have to go through all the process of the testing, make sure it's a fit, so that it could not only pull the weight of the Deltic, but a reasonable amount of rolling stock, which it can now. And one thing you don't have to worry about is traction, because you see weight of the thing. But you know, actually, it's quite funny because the earlier engineering samples of it, the top wasn't connected to the bottom. Right. And if someone ever picked it up, there's always a fear that the bottom would fall away. And if it's so heavy that if it fell on your toes, that would hurt. But luckily for us, at the race gathering, we had to wear steel toe caps, so we were safe from 00 Deltic toe breakage.
So it was a great event. If anyone at home was there, said hello, we really appreciate you coming up and saying hello. And if anyone did get a chance to go to the Greatest Gathering, I hope you had an amazing time. I'm sure you did. It was a brilliant event, and well done to all the organisers and everyone that was there for that. So let's jump into some questions, which is what I'm sure you're all here for. I'll start with some questions that we've had in through our social media channels. So we've got first up from Jeremiah Bunyan, who has asked quite a few questions. So we'll get into a few of them. This first one is there an update on the Class 31? We saw some CAD images over a year ago.
Well, no, there's not an update. And the reason why I say that is because I'm probably one of the world's worst people about letting things slip about what we're working on and what's coming and what we're going to do when. And the truth is, we are doing a Class 31. Everyone knows that. There's a reason you've seen CAD is mean because there's been some work done on it. It was TT CAD, but it's more of a question of what order do we do things in. So that there will be a 31 that I can guarantee, and you just have to keep looking out for our range announcements. We always give a bit of warning. Sometimes we don't, for no surprise, but generally speaking, so just keep watching and keep tuned in on that one.
There you go. Is there any progress with the TT 120 Class 47?
That falls into a very similar. It's the same answer as before, really. It's one we're definitely going to do, and it's just a matter of the order in which we do it and when the exact date is.
And is there any progress on Class 60 for TT 120?
So Class 60 again is on the list that what was published in one of the earlier catalogues. So it is something we'll cover. We haven't shown any CAD on it yet, but it's definitely within the thinking pool of what we should be doing. But the thing with TT is it's about what do you do first, what would you do it, and the answer I'd love to give is that we're doing everything at absolutely once. But if I told you that, then I wouldn't necessarily be telling the truth, and more importantly, you'd be waiting a long time for things.
Yeah.
But we will when things are coming, we will let you know, and they'll arrive within 12 months. That's our plan.
Nice. And what about the BR standard 9F?
Yeah. Again, diesels obviously we've had out more recently than a large steam loco. So we've announced Terrier with the J50 as well. So we haven't done a large steamer, and I'll be honest, it's really due, isn't it? We've got to do one, but what will it be? I'm not going to tell you now, but 9F definitely has to be a contender. I keep seeing on this thing here 5MT, Black 5. Surely that has to be another contender as well. But what will it be first?
Someone said, please let slip any future releases for TT 120. The more indiscreet, the better. So when it comes to wagons and locos, there seems to be a degree of joint up thinking. Most if not all wagons have suitable locos to haul them. However, in terms of coaches, there's quite a bit lacking, which can be done with existing tooling. BR Blue and Grey Mark 1s and NSE Mark 1s could go so well with the existing Class 37s and Class 50s. Any chance of those appearing? So I guess that's basically saying there's some things missing. We get wagon and things like that for the...
Yeah, and in the question, there's a really good point made there, is that it almost seems in a lot of ways that we do a better job of matching traction to rolling stock on wagons as we do coaches, and there's quite a simple answer as to why. When you tool a wagon, which will fill a rake, that rake can be, depends what it is, how long that rake will be, it's one tool. When you do a suite of coaches, you've got various tools. Basically, it's a bigger project, but that's more on a new tooling side of things. This question is obviously more about applying liveries to existing coaches, and the answer is on both those examples is we will. They just weren't in this announcement.
Is there any update on the LNER teak coaches seen at the initial launch?
Yeah, well, we haven't got any sort of further progress that we can announce. A lot of the development work is done. It's more about where we're going to slot that in the scheme of things of what we tool next. I mean, obviously they are going to be the amazing thing to stick behind one of the A3s or A4s, and yes, you have seen obviously a new liveried A4 in the most recent announcement, so they should really be getting closer.
Can we expect more variations of the popular Mark 1 coaches in the future?
Yes, it is the answer to that, and the order in which we do any kind of coaching stock from what we've announced now is going to be about what actually pulled it. And we've already mentioned a couple of diesels earlier on, which opens up potentially the need for different variants of Mark 1s, possibly Mark 2s as well. So that they will come. They're all in the thinking, yeah, we just can't really say when yet. Sorry.
We have steam, we have diesel. Can we expect at least one popular electric locomotive like the Class 86?
That's a really good point. I mean, there's also the 86, but there's obviously other kind of modern electric trains. I mean, with some other questions about Eurostars and even the 755 as well.
Pendolino, Hitachi, IP.
And it's like, if we were to put a poll out and give a choice and say, what would you rather we did? Would you rather we do that 5MT and 9F we just spoke about, or should we go into another region like the Western, or should we do modern electric? You know, what's the answer to that? And I bet you if we actually did that poll, I'm not really sure whether there'd be a standout, because I think there's actually a demand for all of those things. But we need to plug a few kind of little holes. You know, we mentioned earlier about certain bits of coaching stock missing. There's certain things that we've shown CAD on that are missing. They're going to have to be the things that come first. But definitely interested in getting into electric, whether it's from a loco perspective or whether it's from a multiple car. I think that now obviously there's the DMU coming. That's a really good idea. And that fills kind of a nice gap in that, but it will also, whilst it fills a gap, it will also create a demand for more of those types of things. But yeah, again, it comes to what do we do first? And one day we will get to electric. We have to do it. We have to bring in modern image, but we also have to kind of feed what people have already sort of bought into and what they're building. I mean, don't get me wrong, some people when they build a layout, they don't really kind of care about eras or regions much, but there are a lot that really do, and I'd imagine a lot of the people that are tuning in tonight actually really do. And then it becomes quite difficult on what you're actually going to do from the era perspective. I mean, that's why preserve loco is always good, because you can realistically make things happen. But yeah, there's still, that's the great thing with TT. There's so much sort of speculation on kind of what's going to come next. And you know, there was a period I think with TT when people were wondering, okay, but what about when they start doing small stuff? Yeah, they did now 8 early doors, but you know, it's kind of quite boxy. But what about when you get to things like the Terrier? I mean, we obviously announced the J50 before the Terrier, but the Terrier has that more exterior detail, and I think that's what makes another side of TT exciting, is just being purely what we can actually do with the scale, and still get a really decent looking model.
Yeah, it's not on here, but just my question. So how much do you use the information that maybe you know from 00 and what's popular in there to kind of impact what choices you're making in TT, or do you just completely kind of say, no, it's a new thing?
What we learn and know from 00 is some kind of is our kind of core based knowledge. That's what we had anyway. That was the thing we had right at the beginning, and have had since very early decisions were made on the introduction of TT. Some of those very early decisions would have all been based on what we know on 00 and kind of how to build a range. That still exists. That's still kind of quite prominent in thinking. But what is also then really important now is actually, you know, is the TT market different to the average 00? And then there are some things that probably are quite different. So we then have to factor that in. You know, we want to attract new people to TT, and a new region or a new era will bring that in. There's no doubt about it. But for the people that have already kind of committed into it, we've got to kind of keep feeding the things that fit with theirs. So it's about balancing the two of them.
Any plans for new sets using some of the newer models, like the BR Green Class 37, Maroon coaches, BR Blue Class 37, any sort of and HST sets in more modern post 2000 liveries?
So we have the BR HST set out there as a train set, as a kind of a starting point, and that will hang around because it is such a good starting point from the era that it hit. Whereas prior to that, we only had the 2 steamers. We now have Branch Line, which is that kind of real entry item. That's for people that I'll give this a go. You know, £100. Yeah, I'll do this. We do need I think a kind of a decent freight size set, so that'll be something that we will look at for a starter point, because not everyone wants to start with passenger.
Yeah. David Watson asks, why haven't Hornby released suitable rolling stock in TT120 to go with their loco announcements? Should be back to
it's to go on those blue greys and also the Network Southeast. I mean, it's not that we haven't got anything that could or would go with those locos that we've announced. It's what would be the obvious, and it's the obvious things that maybe you'd expect to see behind them, which we will be addressing, will come through.
Roy Jones, 2 questions, if I may. Can we have some RTC Derby locomotives, laboratories and test cars to equal the choice given to the N-Gauge fraternity?
Yeah, I think, and I might be wrong, so shoot me if I am, Roy, but I think that might have been more 00 question than
Possibly,
a CT
yeah.
question. I think so, and the reason why I kind of think that is they would be things that you would probably naturally expect to see a little bit later down the line in TT.
Mhm.
So it's not to say they're necessarily a wrong thing or a bad idea, and the fact that they've been covered in Engage, which obviously is a more kind of further down the line, more developed scale and range. So those things like kind of will come. It's not like we would never think of not doing anything like that. They're things that you see around the kind of railway ecosystem, so they're relevant.
So Adam Magson asked about Era 1 locomotives, and a few people in the chat have been asking about whether or not we would be doing any more Era 1 in the future.
Yeah, I mean, it's a double O question again. Sorry, TT people, but we can't avoid it.
I feel like if you asked one of the designers to do in TT one of the Era 1s like Stevenson's rocket, I think they go. I
think you'd see sort of. I think it's too hot in Margate with the weather, so bringing in that extra issue. But you never say never with anything. But right now, no. So on double O, because that is a double O question. Will there be more Era 1? Well, locomotion has done extremely well for us, and when the first Era 1 stuff came out, I think a lot of people weren't really sure, but it's proving popular, and there are more things to do. I'm not going to lie, and on Cole's behalf, who's not here tonight, they are really hard work from a development perspective, a research perspective. So they're kind of not easy. But yeah, I think we'd be foolish not to pick off a few more. I say a few more, maybe more. It depends on obviously how interested that people are. So it's a bit of a wait and see. There's no double O announcement for a while, not till the winter anyway. So we'll see.
David Thompson, when will a DMU train be coming to the TT 120 range? And second question was, why don't you publish a catalogue anymore? I assume for TT specifically.
So yeah, we're starting with the DMU. Obviously, we have one coming into TT by Hellion, which is great. Really excited to see that. Is there scope for other DMUs, potentially more modern ones? Maybe. I must admit, I quite like the idea of that personally, but it's sometimes what I like personally aren't always the right things to do. So we have to make a group decision which is commercially right. Otherwise, you'd have underground trains. Anyway. So that's something that will come, but it is not as an important area for us now, given that someone else has already done one. I think the bit what we look out for more in that is that does having one in the market spark even more and more interest for that kind of thing, because it's a cracking idea because it just fits and works on so many layouts. Yeah, I'm jealous. Onto the catalogue, we do produce a annual catalogue, but we produce it in a digital format, and it goes on our website. Not like with Hornby, obviously with double O, we've got been for many years producing a catalogue, and we will continue to do that because it's kind of in its own right a collector's piece and Bible. TT we keep it in a bit more of a digital space because we don't have like this whole every year there's a big January announcement and there's a big publication. We treat it a bit differently. We're trying to kind of be a bit more kind of nimble in how we do things. So we treat the catalogue a little bit differently, where we'll create it and it'll go on the website. So if you're a TT club member, you can, which is free by the way, join now, you're not already. And you can kind of see it on screen, so you can essentially see a catalogue. We do actually print a few. They're not a sellable item. They're sort of thing we kind of hand out at shows, but we try to keep a little bit away from the paper format of it because it dates a little bit earlier. But we will produce one this year. But as I say, it won't be a sellable item. We'll do a short number of them. We'll get a few into retailers. Come and see us at the show. You might be able to grab one, and maybe they'll become a rare collector's piece because we don't do so many of them. It's not the intention. It's also difficult to catalog when you've got 4 releases out throughout the year. You kind of things get a little bit lost. If we printed a catalog tomorrow, should we have stuff in it that was announced in April, things like that. It gets a little bit different. It has to be a snapshot in time.
Damien Leverton asked, what is the future of the DCC controllers? The Select is no longer available and the Elite is quite old now and expensive. Not everyone wants HMDCC and the dongle needs supported controller. Is there plans for another entry-level controller or an update to the Elite?
It is something we have spoken about, so this is not a completely wow, I didn't see that question coming, and I understand why people are asking that, and they're I think it's a good question, and that's exactly why we already thought about it. It is something we have spoken about. It is something that we're looking at. We did want to get a few things further sort of progressed with HM7000, and some learnings back from how people were using it and what potential other control system might kind of complement it, or do we still just need this out and out DCC controller? And that's kind of where we've got to now. So we've got a bit more to do in HM7000, and we've got a piece of work to do really to get an understanding what might be needed. You know, is it just simply an affordable control system which is cheaper to make than the Elite and potentially kind of a bit more modern in functionality and appearance, or not? And we're also conscious there are kind of a lot of other controllers in the marketplace as well. So there's no kind of there's not really much point in kind of doing a Me Too controller unless it's got something specifically different about it. And that point of difference might be price, and that is valued. You know, if you can produce something that works well for a better price, because at the end of the day, we want to make this easy and we want to get more people into it. So if we need that tool, but yeah, it's something which is in discussion, but I can't say that we've got anything really concrete.
For anyone that might be at home sort of wondering, well, why? What's the difference? Why does it matter if you is there a difference in HMDCC and a DCC controller, or is it just sort of apples and pears in the sense of like how you like to control your?
Well, I think in some ways, I think HM7000 and using the app side of it has probably exposed how existing controllers are potentially a bit clunky in functionality and how you flip things. You know, like the limits on personalization and how you kind of word things. You know, like obviously with in HM7000, now every when you tell it it's that loco, everything is designed, whether it's describing parts about it or uploading the picture, everything is about that loco, and you're working with numbers. You know, when you work with the Elite, you essentially have to remember numbers. You're forever kind of cross-checking, which for a long time was perfectly acceptable to all, and that's the kind of the point, is that maybe HM7000 has exposed that it needs to be a little bit different. But I do think there's something there with it that needs to be looked at as an opportunity.
Robert Marsh asked, when will we see some GWR WR TT120 items? There's been no news at all, despite a pannier and castle being listed in the 2022 phase 3-4 list. Also, the proposed GWR station and related buildings have totally vanished from any mention. Whilst Hornby can't do everything at once, it seems a huge miss. There's literally nothing GWR in Western region related to the TT120 lineup.
It's a very good question. It's not the first time we've been asked, and I like it. It's not a bad thing when people ask the same question, because what that actually tells us is it gives an indication on demand, so that that is actually really useful information. Even though I'm not sadly going to bag you the answer he wants, because we're not announcing any GWR locos or rolling stock, but it's something that has to come.
Robert Pryor, and this is something that was asked, I've heard a lot asked, especially even at the Greatest Gathering. Why do you do so much northern stuff and not southern stuff? Based in the NS, you're based in the NSE area. I mean, the class 455, 319, 442s, they're basically Mark 3s, and I'm sure it wouldn't take that much to update. So I do hear a lot of people asking about southern.
That question could possibly be more about 00 than TT, and to be honest, maybe it doesn't matter what scale it's about. I mean, if it's about TT, then southern is about coming into the region. I mean, we already are in the southern region with bits and pieces, but doing a 455 is they're quite sort of a big projects. And if the question is more about 00, then that's a really good point. Do we do enough southern stuff? And maybe we don't. Maybe we should be getting some more suggestions in like this. Maybe we should be looking more at what people kind of want to see. I mean, southern locos, I mean, I personally like them because of the colour and obviously the region where they come from, and also what ran on the network in that era of railways. But if there are things that are clearly missing, then if we get asked enough times, we'll do it. We do listen.
Adam Magson asked, will there be any special edition models made following the Greatest Gathering that happened over the weekend? For example, the Class 91 in LNER National Railway Museum 50 years livery, Class 50s in the There's so many train liveries, class 90 in the special greatest gathering, 60 rail freight livery. Yeah, so I mean, there were obviously a lot of special liveries there, including, they mentioned there, the exhibition train, the Inspiration. Yeah, what would Hornby's thoughts on this be?
I mean, the quick answer is watch this space, because it's something that we have noticed. There are a few sort of projects which came to light before the actual event, but I think it does open up a huge opportunity. I mean, you could say, well, that was 3 days of the year, and if you announce a model now, it might not come out for 6 months, a year, whatever. But actually, I think that the event has probably stamped a massive kind of imprint on it. So I think doing anything that's been linked to this year, I think has sort of longevity for beyond. And also there are some very sort of attractive trains. The actual exhibition train is an interesting one, because in theory, I suppose we could make that, but it would be quite a difficult one to actually complete it, because of going over.
How many cars is it?
It's 4, I believe. Four,
okay.
Without traction. Or no, it's 5. So it's 5. Yeah. It was 5 without that, and it does look absolutely amazing. And yeah, I mean, it would be nice. I mean, it would be a big train pack in the day. Okay. But maybe if the demand's there and there's enough interest filed in it, we can look at it. I'm lying there, because we have looked at it, and the next point I'm going to make is going to uncover that. We have looked at it, and there are a few kind of points of difference on some of the stock used that would mean we'd have to compromise, basically, using existing tooling. And we also did quiver at the how difficult it might be to get some of that kind of decoration over certain like window lines and things like that, because it is a blacked out train. And yes, we have done it on other things before for kind of network rail yellow, and it's not impossible, but that's quite an intricate livery and on something which has got texture to it.
aptp.com. When is the sound package coming for the APTP? Also, are there any plans for a TT 120 APT, Rob?
Right, so start with the sound. I'm glad that we got that question in advance, because it meant I got to go ask Chris and nag Chris about it. We are not talking months, but probably weeks on that. Right. We've got a bit of holiday. I was a bit cautious of that. The project isn't far away, but I'm just conscious we've got a few people on holiday. So, I mean, really, end of August, if not into September, for the sound profile. As for a TT APT, it's a big one, and someone's got to do it one day. Yeah. But when, I'm not sure.
Okay. When, not sure. Eric Netherlands asked, any new short coaches in 00 coming up soon? Most of the latest shorter coaches are sold out. A remake of the non-corridor short bogey teak coaches would be great too.
Yeah, you had us scratching your head a bit, that one, Eric, about what you might be referring to against a 00 question, not a TT question, just to make that clear from that. So now, originally I thought maybe we were talking about the kind of the four-wheelers, which we are 4 and 6 wheelers, which we are. You're right, we're pretty much sold out on, because when you said teak, but then when you said shorter bogey, we weren't really sure. So if you're out there and you can contact us and a bit more specific to which particular coaches you may have been talking about, we might be able to shed some light on it. So sorry on that one.
So I'm going to go through a few of the live chat questions, so get them coming in as I look through. Got Robert Marsh, can you add an option to send individual cheap items less than £50 to avoid multiple mail charges? That'll be an online.
Yeah, I mean, I'll have to look into that one. I'm kind of have an answer on that.
Will Alex Burrows, will you ever make a 00 gauge model of the LMS Coronation class locomotive Duchess of Hamilton in its USA tour condition?
Nice. We haven't done Duchess of Hamilton for a while, and I'm pretty sure we've never actually done it from that tour. I mean, we'd have to look at what the points of differences are to see whether we can make it or what work would be to make it. But I think that's I like that idea.
Not related to Hornby, but Monarch Gaming asked, will the Captain Scarlet 60th anniversary Corgi line come in the beautiful boxes that the new Thunderbirds anniversary came in?
Well, I hope so.
I hope so, because they are very nice boxes.
Yeah.
So hopefully, Elliot almost, is the Black 5 issues fixed? I'm not sure what.
I'm guessing that was talking about the potential issues we had with the very early ones with the tender. Yeah, they're fixed. We changed the connection between the tender and the loco, and we have had releases since, which have, to our knowledge, all been fine. So I think if that's definitely what you're referring to, then yes.
Victoria B, will you make a TT train set or a TT train pack for Flying Scotsman and Sir Nigel Gresley with Gresley teak coaches, or make a train pack of Mallard with LNR coronation coaches?
I mean, it would look amazing, wouldn't it? Imagine those coronation coaches in TT. So I mean, the Gresleys ones would be the more likely option there, and if we were to do that, then to be making kind of train packs, whether it's about anniversaries of something or about famous bits of time, whatever, that would be a no-brainer when the Gresleys are available. So yeah, I like that idea.
Howard Wisby asked, generic question, any chance of working with a decal manufacturer to enable renumbered carriages and wagons? So you can renumber them yourself, I assume, if you want to.
Yeah, and it's a skill, and I have a huge respect to people out there that have the kind of ability to be able to do it. And no, we don't work with any specific decal manufacturer, but we do supply and work with some really good retailers who offer that kind of sort of functionality to be able to do that. And I don't know really what else more we would be able to kind of play in that, because it's kind of already happening. But there are some out there who offer that service and do a very good job of it, and there are also people out there who do it privately. So I'm pretty sure that kind of there is option out there for people.
Greg McDonald asked, what's the one question you would answer if only we knew the right question to ask? When's the SR Terrier coming?
SR Terrier, we're tracking to autumn time at the moment, the Terrier. So sort of maybe, I don't think we'll see it before October, so it'll be in that sort of October, November region, I think we're going to at the moment. Got it here.
So he's got it here. So if you want to talk a little bit about it.
Yeah, now we're on to the camera.
We'll be very, very delicate with it.
Yeah. So some of you guys who were at the event at the weekend would have seen these amazingly beautiful things on show. And yeah, so we now have decorated samples. So we have decorators, we have runners, we're ready to go into manufacturing. There's a few little tweaks on those, but nothing kind of overly major. And if you happen to be in the vicinity of Margate this weekend, then we obviously have our open day collaborating with the one-to-one next door, which we'll talk about more in a minute, so we'll come back to that. But anyway, the reason I mention it is they'll be on show again there. But yeah, so they're coming. They're not far off. Mike, you just held up the southern one, which is my favourite.
This is my favourite.
You got the London Brighton one there, and then we've got the BR one to come as well, and of course the coaches to come with them, which we've also got here in order of. Now I've only got one of each. We have got more. Would be all day if we showed them all, but there's the SR. Four-wheeler. They're actually going to come a little bit sooner than the loco at the moment, we think. So we could be maybe a month, 2 months away on the coaches. We always try with these things for it all to kind of come together, but it never really works out like that because of, lo and behold, coaches are easier to make than working locomotives, to no surprise. But these look like really, really amazing. I mean, the BR one, which is now just come up on screen, that has. It looks great. You then, when you see the BR one, you appreciate the detail of the coach itself. But when you look at the London Brighton and the Southern Railway, and also then the Southern one, you then appreciate the livery more, because there's really kind of a fine and intricate livery on it. Yeah, and there's the final BR Terrier. So yeah, Terriers are coming, and they've been, when we announced those in earlier in the year. We got a really, really warm response to them, which is exactly what we wanted. It's what we kind of expected we would get as well, which is great. But now people are sort of seeing them in this format. I mean, some of the feedback I got from the weekend where people are actually seeing them in the flesh, which is always kind of better than in a printed or digital format, is people are really, really impressed. So if you haven't got them in order, then always make sure you don't miss out.
And a few people talking Terriers have also asked about the J50s and whether there's any information on them when they might be coming.
J50 is
As you
not
said,
far
were
away. I'm going to have
announced.
to refer to my.
Because we announced the J50s before, Terriers, is that right?
We did, yeah, and the J50s are where are we? We're tracking to around about September, so they're essentially they're on their way. They've just got to kind of get here and arrive, so they're not far away at all. The J50, yeah, it's been later than what we planned, and it's quite amazing when you think of how far ahead the J50 was announced before the Terrier. Yet the Terrier is only going to be a couple of months behind it, and there are a number of reasons to that. But the kind of the main reason on that was that we had a motor change on the J50, and you know this happens sometimes. I mentioned it earlier about with the 00 Deltic. And when you have to change something like that, it adds months in, because you have kind of sourcing, you have to make sure it fits, then you have to go through all the testing for hours and hours. So that's what's held the J50 back slightly, but they're it's not going to be long.
Alan's Trains Rapido has had some success with fictional liveries. Has Hornby thought of doing this?
Yes, we have. I think. I mean, we do it. I mean, we do it in 00, obviously, with things like the unmentionable beetles, which always gets watch the comments change now. Beetles. Why do you make beetles? The one going bankrupt, all those things, but they sell anyway. So yeah, I think there's a lot in that, and I think they've done a kind of a great job with some of the ideas, and it's and other manufacturers as well. We've seen being doing other bits that are either really fictional or they're sort of could be real. And I think there's scope for that. You know, it opens up imagination, and I think that's really important in railway modelling. That I've got, you know, for people that want everything to be absolutely perfect and accurate, full respect to that. But that doesn't suit everyone, and having things which are a little bit more fun along the way, there's definitely some scope for that. I mean, we obviously have the vent van, which comes in the branch line set, which is kind of much easier to be a bit more creative with. So you know that there will be some things coming out with that, and it's a little bit more novelty. It's a bit more fun, potentially a bit more kind of gifty. But yeah, we're not definitely not afraid to apply that to the TT market, as we already have done in 00.
Someone has asked what your drink bottle is. What brand your drink bottle is?
It's a brand called Polar Gear. It's all right. I recommend them. I don't know if I'm promoting them, but no, it's a Polar Gear drinks bottle, and it's double wall insulated, so put your drinking cold. We sell drinks bottles now.
Yeah.
It works. Yeah, Polar Gear bottle. Probably find it in Tesco.
Urban Outsider, how do we repair Hornby steam generators? So that would be a contact our customer services.
Come for our customer services on that, and we'll support with that route. It's definitely it's potentially not one for at home, and it's definitely not one thing that we could probably try and explain or describe over YouTube. So yeah, go through our usual routes of our customer service team, and we'll get that sorted.
Someone's asked, lost who it was now, but would we ever use the steam gen technology in diesels in some way?
Well, that is, it's not impossible to do. Obviously, it kind of it pumps out sort of slightly differently, but it has been spoken about. We have spoken about what that could potentially look like, and how it might work. One thing we know we can't do at the moment, because we have tried, is to get the colour right. Because you're gonna do a cold start diesel and that, then we're gonna probably sort of make the room go a little bit dark and maybe upset a few people as well. But anyway, it's something we've spoken about. We haven't got anything that we can kind of announce that we're doing here and now. And of course, we've already done the smell version of it, didn't we? We announced that on April the 1st, I think, didn't we?
Yeah, Eau de Chuff,
Eau de Chuff, available from all good.
Only a few people were allowed to smell the sample of that, but a few people are asking about the J50 again. Someone was asking about if we have any idea of when buildings. Obviously, we mentioned in the announcement about some of our accessories, and for those that went to the Greatest Gathering, they will have seen some samples of them.
Yeah, so we are very, very close to be kind kind of what I call kind of announcing in full. And what I mean by that is like you've got SKU number you can pre-order, and whether it's a retailer or whether it's someone ordering directly from a website. So we're quite close to that. There's it's a slightly different process you have to go through with buildings as you do to something that has wheels and rolls. But so what the people were lucky enough to see at the show were kind of almost finished. They're not quite right. We now have sort of the correct ones visually, so they will be going onto our kind of website soon. We'll share them on social, and I really hope that in the next month or so that they'll go kind of sort of live with, so you can pre-order them. But one thing that will be, say, different to how it works with rolling stock is that at that stage of going live, they won't be that far away, because what it will mean is they're actually being made. One of the things with because all the buildings are so bespoke, you can't get all the sort of final detail on them, whether it's the weights, the measures, the size of it, the exact colours or what it's going to look like, until they've actually started making them. But when you're working with kind of moulded plastic and moulded metal in factories that produce tens of thousands of these things week in, week out, it's a slightly different process. So you're going to get new images, you're going to get a lot more information. Stay tuned on it. We do announce things on social. We do send things out to our trade customers, and they announce on their socials. The danger with socials is you can miss things. So one of the things which, we see it through some of the questions that people send in, they ask things and we think, well, we've already told you. I really recommend to people that if you've got an email address, sign up to get an email newsletter, because that is probably one of the most kind of consistent ways of not missing something out.
Would you ever do Engage GB Productions?
Not right now. I mean, it's really unlikely for us. There's already a lot of stuff out there. There's some great manufacturers making great things, and and I've just sort of said on 3 occasions about TT, what do we do next? Promise it's coming, kind of thing. They are. I think we have our focus areas, and that's what we'll stick with.
45 Degrees Modelling asks, what are some ways you encourage feedback and participation from the TT120 community? Well, one of those is these forums, so live Q&As and YouTube shows.
Yes, and I actually read quite a lot of, especially on Facebook, of what people are talking about on TT, probably more than I do on the 00 side of things. And there's very reasons for that, but the main reason for that is that 00 is more established. It's got forums, it's got things set up, and as a business we've got kind of people dialing into kind of what's going on, and TT is obviously at that kind of slightly earlier stage. So I actually do look at a lot of the things which come up on there, and I really kind of recommend people to join some of those groups out there. I'm not going to name them because I fear that I'll miss one out and then I'll upset someone, but they're really easy to find, and there are more of them, and there's some great influencers out there as well who do TT, like Greg McDonald, for example. Who's that other guy?
Orange.
Apricot?
Yeah, Apricot. Yeah.
Oh, Peachy. Peachy, that's one. They're pretty Peachy, yeah. I was waiting for my phone to go. No, but the point is that there are some great communities out there, and we do kind of read a lot, probably more than we interact. And one of the reasons why we don't interact is because we get beaten to it, and we get beaten to it by a group of people who really want to help other people out. They're doing something that they believe really positive. It's a really nice space, and I enjoy reading TT social media. I do. I have to say I do.
Highfell asked, do you keep up to date with what's happening in our own forums? So we keep an eye on all forums, and designers are always looking at.
We do, is the answer. I mean, do I read every single thing on there? No, I'll be lying if I said I did. I'd love to have the time to, I suppose. But I don't. But that doesn't worry me, because I know there are some key people within the organisation, people that support us and work closely with us as a brand and as a business, who kind of report back the things that we maybe really need to know. And the guys that work on our forum, for example, they're actually really great. They're amazing. I can't really sort of thank them enough. What they do. But if there are areas, especially more on TT, where we're lacking or we could do more, then please say and pipe up on the forum, and we can maybe look at a way around that. But there is also this amazing thing going on social media as well, where there are people dying to help as well. So there are more than one avenue for things.
So slightly direct question, but we do get it a lot. Is there any truth in the rumours that Hornby are ditching 00 and focusing only on TT 120?
I've not actually really seen those rumours for a long time. So I didn't know they were still live. The answer is no.
Yeah.
You know, 00 and TT actually do two quite different things. Obviously, one's a really established market with a lot of people committed into it, and those are systems. And you know, there's still lots of great models that can be produced. 00 is also really, really key because if we look at kind of TT is not suitable as a toy. That's one thing that's different between 00 and TT is there is no like out and out kind of play trains version of and play trains in which is essentially is 00 is the perfect scale for a toy for the age group we do, and you wouldn't be able to achieve that with TT. And you know, one of the things that you know is really important to us is actually kind of giving kids something to play with, and that is always going to come from a 00 perspective, because that's what play trains is. That's where you've got lots of entry level railroad things. That's where our train sets are. There's a much bigger kind of ecosystem of products that you can make work, which is right for that usability. TT on the other hand is it's about space. It's about fitting things in space. That is the key difference between the two of them, and they do different things. You know, I think someone wanting to build an intricate layout in a small house is very relevant to an adult, whereas a kid who wants to be adventurous and clip track together and put it around the floor, and mum wants to sweep it up every night and it's still as easy to build. They're two different things, and you wouldn't be able to do that at TT.
So the answer is no. We love both 00 and
we
TT.
do, yeah.
So
I hope that shut down some rumours.
A couple of people are asking about the 6-pin HM7000 when they're due for release.
We're not far off. I haven't got the date right in front of me, and now I'm kicking myself because they do have a relevance to TT. I can't say well, it's a TT conversation.
Yeah, I'm sure
they're not far. It's later in this year, and we've got some few app-based things we have to work on as well to sort of kind of make that all fun. But they're not far away. If they're not kind of on their way, and what I mean by that is they're on the boat. It's not far away, so it's definitely something we're going to see in autumn or before, I think.
And then a few people asked, "Will we hear are there any new features for HM7000 or anything coming anytime soon? Is there any kind of news that comes around on that?"
We haven't. There's nothing which we can announce today, and HM7000 has developed to kind of what we originally sort of said it would. You know, consisting was the real last biggie, and which we introduced to it, and now we are getting close to sort of starting to think about what the next stage is of it for. But we take a sort of a slightly different approach to maybe how things have been done historically at Hornby, and it's very relevant to this and very relevant to toys and things like that, but is actually looking at, rather than kind of following courses of what's out there, is actually sort of do more of a kind of research thing to actually find out what people want, so that a piece of innovation is kind of really, really needed, rather than just, oh wow, that's different. It's actually going to get kind of used, and that's probably where we are, and is the next step for HM7000.
So I'm going to finish up with one last question from Peachy TT120, because he's been asking it a couple of times. Martyn, are you even more confident about the future of TT than you were a year ago?
Right, so the quick answer is yes. I don't give many quick answers. Sorry if you wait, so go and watch Coronation Street away. So it is. So if you dial back a bit further than that, you know, everything out there was like, was there a future for it? Hornby, they've done this before, they're not going to do it, And then we got over that. You know, it felt to me, you know, from reading with social media, that the general populace was like, no, I think it's not a flash in the pan. There are new things coming. It's going. It seems to be emerging here more than everywhere, and I do think that the work that we've done, and that's even working with influencers as well, falls into that, through kind of more and more content, spending more and more time talking about it, and of course, more importantly, producing more and more things, and then now multiple other manufacturers coming on board. I mean, it's not really a decision for Hornby to pull out now. It's multiple, and it's just not going to happen, is it? It's working. It's great, you know, the numbers are growing, whether that's an audience thing, whether it's a sales thing, whether it's just a general interest, whether it's people putting comments on these threads or whatever. The whole world of it is growing, and there are a lot of people that have contributed to that and making it happen, and we have made it happen. And the demand for more things and going into different regions. And it's definitely here to stay. There's no doubt about that, and I'm really, really confident about it. And, you know, the responses we get to our models, but more importantly, when we go to events, you know, this weekend was a good example from the feedback. Is, you know, people may have heard about TT, they may have seen it somewhere, but they see a layout and then they see what's physically possible in a space, and then they see that there's no real compromise on the detail or functionality of it, and they're like, that's kind of a bit of me. And we're sort of we're seeing people being interested in TT that may not have come into model railways. Maybe it's been there at the back of their head, but they've had certain barriers, and now that's kind of being broken down. So I am very, very confident in TT, and I think it was a great decision to be made to do it, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun.
Nice. This way works asked, is that a TT layout you're building behind you? So I'm glad someone's been noticing. No, it's not a TT layout, it's a 00 layout that I'm building. So it's about 16 by 10, so it's quite big. And I'm starting with the modern station on one side, and I'm going to have various different sections. Obviously at the back, got a nice viaduct there. I've got a helix and that. So you'll be seeing, if you're watching the videos, a bit more of that as I build that up over the next few months. So I've gone from quite a small diorama and small layout to just going whole hog and getting a nice big layout, and all the team's going to be helping me. So we'll be showing you how to do your electrics, wiring, how to set your track up, how to literally do everything. Yeah, so it's my I say little project.
It's your cave project.
It's my cave, my man cave. Yeah.
Every video that comes along, there'll be something else done, but that's pretty realistic to how it is for a lot of people, isn't it? You kind of build these things, and I remember when Mike came up with the idea of doing this, and we spoke about it, and I was like, yeah, but when are you gonna have it done by? Because I'm thinking about, we get these videos with amazing finished layout, but what we've actually quite realised is not only, number one, it takes a lot of time to do it, we knew that anyway, but there's such a big part of fun to be had in the journey along. But as you say, this is 00, and back onto TT layouts. I mean, I'm really want to see a load more. You know, I see stuff on social media. I really want to see more at shows, because I think it's just amazing what you can fit in a space with it, and it obviously potentially makes it a bit easier to be portable. But yeah, there's a bit of an ask from me back to you guys is, you know, get building small layouts, and when you do, because I'm sure there are a lot out there, regardless of what state they're in, whether they're at this stage, that stage, keep sharing. Everyone loves it. You know, it's good to see, and but I do really hope to see more out on the show circuit of TT layouts. Really, really do. And also, what would be great, not that I'm asking much here, would be to be putting them in some kind of like real sort of domestic situation, you know, whether it's something that slides under the bed, whether it's sort of in a weird alcove or whatever. I think there's some great things that can be done with TC. So good luck, mission set.
Yeah. We'll finish up there. I'll finish up with a small plug that obviously this weekend we down here in Margate, we're doing an open weekend, including the one-to-one collection in our Wonderworks Visitors Centre. So tickets are still available. So if you're around Margate, or you want to come down and see any of our new samples, or you want to come and see the beautiful locomotives that are stored next door, you can go on our website and you'll find all the information about the open weekend there, and you can come and meet the team. Airfix, Scale Electric, all of our brands are there. So we've got some local model as well. Keep Publishing
here,
so,
we make it here.
Yeah, so yeah, if you do have the chance, or you're looking for something to do this weekend and you want a nice travel, come down to Margate and see us.
And the weather's going to be nice.
Yep.
So if the issue is, how do I justify this in my domestic situation, there are multiple ways in which you can do that. You can say that, should we go to the coast for the day or a couple of days, and you shoehorn both things in. You know, obviously we've got lots of beaches around here. We've got live music happening, not on site here, but, you know, locally as well. So there's lots of excuses that if you're creative, you can find a way to get here and do what you do. But it's going to be great. There's still tickets available at the moment. A lot of work has gone into making it happen, from the sort of team within Hornby in making it, but also from our landlords and the guys next door at one-to-one. You know, this hasn't been it has been open to the public once before. Quite a lot has changed. A lot actually. A lot has changed since then. You know, new things coming in and out, but more than what's been done with the site. We haven't got an opening date for it yet. So one thing that after this weekend, if you kind of miss out, we can't say, oh, don't worry, it's going to be opening in 4 months, because there's not visibility of that at the moment. So if you can, you know, please do get down. We're there, so you can come and talk to us, along with our other brands are there as well. So if you have interest in any of our other brands, Corgi, Pocker, Scale Electric, there'll all be lots of things to see. Yeah, it's going to be a really exciting weekend. Looking forward to it.
Yeah, and a final shout out to a young guy that I met called Tommy, young kid who came and spoke to me at the Greatest Gathering, who is obsessed with the Great Anglia flirt, and he is saving up for one.
Is he?
Yeah, and he was in love with it, and yeah, I just said to him I'd give him a shout out if he's watching. So yeah, Tommy, great to meet you. And yeah, thank you as always to everyone for watching. Don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss out on any of our future lives or any of our content. Yeah, thank you so much for all your comments in the comment section, and we listen to them. The dev guys, they always look at different comments on YouTube, so get those suggestions coming in, and yeah, thanks for enjoying hopefully enjoying our time this evening. Martyn, thanks for giving up your time.
Well, thank you for organising it, Mike, and thanks to everyone for joining. I've really enjoyed it. I've just actually realised I've been slouching for ages. That shows how like comfortable it all was and nice and that. But no, thanks very much for joining. That really appreciate it. Thanks very much for the questions. You know, we've answered most, and I hope that we've kind of facilitated in that way, and do keep these things coming in, because we can't answer all of them, but they do go in, and you know, with it sometimes an idea. So yeah, thanks, and enjoy the lovely summer's evening.
Yeah, see you later, everyone.
See you later. Bye.